Okay.
All right, Chair, we are live.
Hello. I can't see anybody here. I presume we're live. There's folks out there.
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah, we are all here.
Okay. I've got a name of Darrell Cooling down the bottom, and I see nothing else. Am I supposed to see anything else there, Liam?
Yeah, you should be.
You'll probably see other members.
Oh, wait a moment now. I just pushed a button. Okay. Now, Patty Cuddle's here. Good evening.
Hello.
Okay, so Gareth is here. Oh, there's Mohammed. Okay. Hey, hello.
There we go.
Gareth. Liam's here. Okay. I'm new to this Zoom business, I guess, so I just have to push some buttons. Okay, well, we have a quorum. Welcome, everyone. I guess we'll call our meeting of the 20th of April, 2021, Western Common Advisory Committee to order. So, where are we going here? So, I guess we should be going down the agenda. So do we have any community announcements from anybody? Apparently not.
Nope.
Okay, so we'll cut into the minutes of the meeting here. Has everybody got a copy of the minutes and had a chance to review them?
Yep.
Yeah, we do.
Okay, any thoughts, anybody?
Okay from my end.
Okay. I thought that maybe there should have been a little bit more about the discussion we had on 913, the presentation by Gareth. I thought that just generated a fair amount of discussion and interest, and we were hoping Gareth would be able to come back with some information, which we might have been able to get prior to tonight, but that didn't happen. And I was thinking that maybe that we should have had something in the notes to reflect that. What are anybody else's thoughts?
Just trying to pull them up right now.
Yeah, because in the minutes, it just basically tells us that Gareth gave us a report, and but the discussion and we were thinking that maybe suggesting that changes to the way the paths were being built might allow us a little more forward momentum in this project.
Yeah, that's right. You know, we did have, yeah.
I was actually a little bit excited there, Gareth, that you might have be able to come up with something there that might move us forward a little quicker, even though it didn't meet all the initial hopes that we had hoped for as far as trail width and the base, etc.
Chair, if you want me to add more to that, I'll take that offline with Gareth and make sure that we add that to the minutes.
Okay, that sounds perfectly acceptable to me, Liam. That sounds good. Is Gareth with us here?
Yep.
Oh, he is here. Okay, very good. Okay, so are you? So can we accept the minutes subject to a little bit more being added in there? Is that an acceptable way to move forward there, Liam?
Chair, you can call for the approval of the minutes as they stand, and then I will bring back minutes for your review again at a future meeting is how it will work.
Okay, sounds good. So can we call for approval of these meetings subject to a little addendum a little later?
Yes.
Okay, somebody say something. I don't think nods work for us. Although
Yes.
I can't wait till we get to a room so we can all look at each other and nods will work.
2027.
Please don't, Darrell. 22 at the latest, please, sir.
No. Yeah, no, sorry, I'll start talking. I just came from another meeting, so I've got too many windows open on my screen and I'm clicking around here trying to get the right documents. But yeah, so did someone move those minutes? I'll second
Yes.
that. Okay.
Thank you, Penny. Okay, everybody in agreement?
Yes.
Okay. We'll do the thumbs up. All right, so pass. Thank you. So what do we have next? The order of business. Do we have approval of the order of business, the upcoming agenda we have for today? Does that meet everybody's approval? Anything to be added?
I will move the motion to approve the order of business. Anybody seconding?
Chair, really quickly, we do have one item to add from the clerk's office. We're going to add item 713, staff update on our motion from the last meeting. And now I believe you can call for a motion to approve the order of business as amended.
Okay, so with that amendment, we're still approved, Mohammed? Okay, perfect. Well, and did you wave your arm there, Angela? Yep, very good. Seconded by Angela. Thank you very much. Okay, so we have the order of business. And do we have to call for a declaration of conflict of interest every time, Liam?
Good evening, Chair. Yes, we do call. There could always be an item that someone has a conflict of interest for a particular meeting. So we'll ask if there are any individuals who have a conflict of interest on the items on this agenda.
Okay, are there any conflicts of interest, good folks? I think we're good. All right. Any consideration of deferred businesses? That
No.
appears to be good as well.
It's too nice outside to
I just put, I was a little late coming back because I have steaks on my spices. They're marinating until the smoker's ready. So we can't, I'm going to be out of fuel if we make too long on this.
Keep it moving.
Okay, correspondence and petitions and delegations. I don't think we have any letters this time, do we, Liam?
That is correct, Chair. There has been no correspondence received through the clerk's office, and there has been no petitions received through the clerk's office.
Then we can move right through that then. Nothing brought forward, so I guess we can get Gareth on the front. We don't have any information items, reports and discussions. We're good. So 711, staff updates on the Western Common. Gareth, you're the man again, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Chair, for having me tonight. The real update that we're looking at for this meeting would be that that we're looking at that discussion about the trail type, which is to your point from the last time. And I think the only hesitation I had of putting forward a motion last time, it was the initial meeting of a relatively new advisory committee. So now I'm just looking for further discussion if folks would like to have it, or if we're just trying to put forward a motion to get a staff report on amending the master plan. That would be the ideal scenario that we'd be looking for here. It's not just it wouldn't just be a matter of we snap our fingers and all of a sudden trail types are changed and we can just amend the master plan. There would need to be a staff report on that just to have a paper trail and provide a little bit more background on the reality of that.
Yes,
Can I ask a question?
of course, please.
Just wondering, the process for that, would we ask for that staff report here at the Western Common Advisory Committee, or would we pass the recommendation on for staff report up to Halifax and West?
Liam can weigh in on this one, but my understanding it would be passed here to Halifax and West, and then to Regional Council, and then the report would come back.
That
But Liam,
is, yeah, you got it right, Gareth.
all right.
Right. Okay, so just so I understand the process here, we will kind of just, I think based on our conversation from last time, we were more or less going in that direction, that we wanted to look at what it would take to change the master plan. So if we approve that here tonight, then I'll move that forward. I'd have to submit a notice of motion at the Halifax and West, or could I just bring that forward at Halifax and West? And then they would make a recommendation for it to go to Regional Council. So,
Counselor,
okay.
I can weigh in on this if you'd like.
Yes, please.
So where this is a motion that is within the Western Common Advisory Committee's mandate, this would go to Halifax and West. There's no need for you to move an additional motion there. So we'll move it here. So we'll likely put it on the floor, have some debate around it, choose a final motion. It will go to Halifax and West, and then on from there.
Okay.
So Liam, what you're saying is it has to go all the way up to council to get a staff report initiated.
Chair, yes, that's correct. It's because this is an administrative order, and so that's why it will go to Regional Council.
Right. So I guess that really is in your ballpark to run with that, Patty. Any of our thoughts about the implication from Gareth's report about the difficulties that we're about to get into by going around Nichols Lake and everything else, and how hard it would be to get a full-size trail in there. It's a little awkward that, you know, we have our concerns here, but then it all just comes to you to have to run up there to try and ask for a staff report in those terms. So Gareth, is there something we can give Patty prior to asking for a report from your people to make it easier to make this argument?
I think what we'd want to do here is kind of define a little bit about what we'd like to see in the staff report. So that's perhaps where Gareth and Liam can help us in crafting what that motion actually looks like. Is it just information on the current or implications of the plan, what the opportunities are for changing the plan, what the kind of cost of process would be for changing that plan? Like, would we have to go back to public consultation? What would the timeline be around that?
And why? The big one is, to me, is the why, because that's changed a lot in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
On the financial side.
Well,
I can speak to that a little bit if you'd like, Mr. Chair.
Yes, please, Gareth, if you'd like to expand on that.
Yeah. Ultimately, this is a conversation which has been ongoing really since the inception of this committee. We've had times where members of the community have come forward and talked about a multi-use trail, which would extend north to south or south to north. We've had members that have suggested, members of the community that have come forward and just said a 2-foot wide backcountry trail is the ideal scenario to preserve the natural setting as much as possible. But then what the master plan outlines, and it does this mostly with a map, but not actually any art. We're in a bit of a tricky spot because it's just one map. which is really guiding a lot of our work on this. And that for folks that are looking at the master plan at any point, it's figure 23. And there's 2 shades of pink. One is a lighter pink and the other is a darker pink. And that differentiates between a 2-foot wide and a 6-foot wide. One is barrier free, which is maintaining a grade ideally under 5%, which is a very, very gradual slope. It has a different trail type. But most of the trail, and at least it's written throughout the master plan, is meant to be a trail like that. Now, what we've learned in our time, at least through Parks Capital, through the construction, is that the grade is very challenging. And in order to maintain that sub 5% grade as much as possible, it is significantly disruptive to the natural setting, which when you look at the administrative order and you look at the spirit of the master plan, it's all about the preservation of the natural setting ultimately. And then there is a section in there about enhancing opportunities for recreation, and part of that would be about inclusivity and accessibility. However, the top priority will always be aligned as preservation and conservation. I hope that speaks to it a little bit, and that's really I think that's we're at. It's the point we're at now, is that we have a very challenging trail type to develop based on what we're seeing in the mapping. That we're going to have to deviate from what that mapping does look like as far as the shape of the trail to maintain that sub 5% grade. But unless we revise some sections of the trail to be more of a backcountry type, and still honoring the spirit of doing some sections of trail to be accessible, and provide opportunities for folks of a variety of needs to get out and enjoy the natural setting of the Western Common, but also maintaining the wilderness as much as possible.
Well, certainly, if we had more backcountry trails, we would be maintaining the wilderness setting a little better. So the wording of what we should ask or suggest Patty go up the line with would it be best to ask in terms of the indicated trails as they are in figure 23? Maybe that should be, we ask for suggest that a staff assess that in light of new information. Maybe more backcountry trails as opposed to fully accessible trails be considered, especially for the more challenging grades, wet areas, whatever, environmental conditions. Is that the way to go, you think, Gareth?
Yeah, we'd be looking, ultimately what we need is direction to write a staff report that considers the implementation of natural surface backcountry trails within the interior. That's what we're looking to do. And
some of that would be minimizing or taking away some of the barrier-free trails, like the other side of the west side of Nichols Lake, which is, from what our last report you gave us, was going to be enormously challenging and horrendously expensive.
It's the west side of Nichols Lake, beyond the water crossing, is several more water crossings, some low-lying areas as well in there, and a pretty significant grade change throughout. So it would be development of a lot of switchback trails to maintain that sub 5% grade, and then additional pretty substantial water crossings, either on a temporary or a full-time basis, because in order to construct the trail, you need certain equipment to get back there, which is really the point we're at as well right now, which is with Nichols Run, is a selection of a certain what bridge type we're looking at. What we do beyond Nichols Run and will really determine the bridge type that we choose.
Okay, so I think I have here that we are looking for a staff report to look at the feasibility of the existing plan, the infrastructure requirements, the potential impact on the environment, and cost implications. And 2, identify options and processes for amending the plan to address any environmental impact and increased cost implications, yet maintain the spirit and intent of the plan around conservation and accessibility opportunities. Something like that. Would that kind of cover it all? I'll put that in the chat. I don't know, Liam, if you can help us with wording the motion.
I think realistically, we could even just boil it down to consider the implementation of natural surface backcountry trails.
Yeah.
Because then we can work within that, what that says, to come back with some information, because we've to date provided a number of memos over the years in advance to the formation of this current committee, which speak to the challenges which we've come with. There's lots of discussion that's gone on in the past, and now we're at a point where the information has met this point, and really what we'd be looking to do is amend this plan. So understanding a little bit at what it would take and what sort of amendments would be to it, or what would be happening, but then also looking in for the other opportunities to continue on with accessible trails. So we're not just doing trail to nowhere. It would be accessible portions, then backcountry portions, and then in other areas of the Western Common, we'd still be looking for opportunities for accessible trail portions.
Yes.
So,
yeah, but to try and extend accessible trails into logistically challenging and environmentally challenging places is, well, it's going to take a very long time, and subsequently this generation might not even enjoy many of the trails at the speed we're going.
So Gareth, I think what we need is the committee then, is the wording for the motion that there we go, Liam, to the rescue.
So I just saw something pop up on my screen here and then it went away.
Good afternoon.
Hit the chat at the bottom.
Okay, there it is.
Yeah. Chat.
Yeah, Liam, that looks good.
Okay, and I guess in the staff report, I just want to make sure that, to keep this moving forward, that we also identify what the process, the options in the process are for amending the plan. Is that captured in that motion?
Good afternoon, Councillor. Through the chair to you're asking if this would allow further amendments later on down the line.
So the staff report would come back with the amendments in it. It would, if I'm reading this correctly, the staff report would come back with recommended amendments.
That is correct, Councillor.
Okay, perfect. You're on mute, Michael.
Hello? Are
Yep.
we here? Okay, so just, okay, I'm pushing buttons here and I got to see what you wrote there, Liam. Excellent. I'm wondering, is it wise to add something in here, sort of just to poke a little bit? Oh. Okay. Thank you, Siri. Because one of the things I'm hoping is that sooner than later, that accessible route that we have behind the PRCC now can be opened up for the public to use. Because right now we have a sign that says, "Do not use." It's kind of ignored by a few people, I know, but it'd be nice to be able to have some trail in there that people could use and be open to use. Is that something that we can add in here, folks? That report would give us some guidance along those lines as well?
Mr. Chair, it's Gareth here. I don't think we need that in this particular instance. We can always do that from an operational side of things. There's already been some discussion earlier, and we can get back to that point. But potentially developing access off of another part of the trail to finish, and then subsequently open the section behind PRCC.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I've taken a liberty as well. I'm going to drop this in the chat because I'm it's just a little bit of it's a bit of a tighter version, which I think would allow for us to come back. I don't pick timing on anything as far as when staff reports get written and when they do come back by any stretch of the imagination, but we don't need to get into the costs related to this because we're not looking at comparison of cost benefit or anything like that. We're looking at what is truly in the spirit of the master plan, as well as we're basically just revising a little bit of a map so that we're accommodating two different trail types and maybe enhancing a little bit more of the backcountry in lieu of accessible trail systems. I think that I just want to keep it as ideally as simple as possible.
Yes. Personally, I agree with that. I think that's the essence of what we're talking about here. So, sir.
Good afternoon, Chair. Maybe we should just put the motion on the floor so that the people at home know what specifically we're kind of addressing, and then we can make amendments to that motion as the committee sees fit.
Okay, I'm just trying to. You got to forgive me, folks. Everybody's talking about Zoom all the time. This is my first time on Zoom. My life has not been ruined by endless meetings of Zoom, so I don't know much about it. Okay, so very good. So does anybody wish to move to put this motion on the floor?
Yes.
Thank you, Darrell. And
I'll second.
You'll second.
Okay.
Yep.
Could I, Vice Chair Darrell, just for the folks at home, can you just read the text that is in the chat? Just that I move that, and then the wording, and that way we have that on record.
Okay. The Western Common Advisory Committee recommends that Regional Council request a staff report and amendments to the Western Common Wilderness Common Master Plan to consider the implementation of natural surface backcountry trails within interior areas of the Western Wilderness Common.
At the same time, she should maybe talk to her. I don't know, not staff.
All right. Sounds good. So move.
That was very
Seconded by Mohammed. All in favor?
All.
Excellent.
that's who she was talking to.
Unanimously passed.
Well, no, I still think
Thank you, folks. Sounds good. Now, so 7.1.2 is discussion regarding Western Common Trail type. So,
Chair, I just from a just based on this and Gareth, please jump in and correct me if I'm wrong here, but I think that was pretty well what we were talking about with this motion. We kind of moved from one item to the next. Would you say that's correct, Gareth?
Yeah, that's absolutely. My updates and discussion are great and done. Thank you, everybody. This is exciting to be able to move things forward.
Okay, well, that's sort of what I thought too, but I had it on this piece of paper, so I read her out. Anyway, excellent. We're moving forward. So now we have the added item from the clerk's office, 713. See if we can get it in order this time. So
That's great.
Liam, what do you have for us, sir?
So just to bring the committee, I guess, up to speed with what had happened, there was a staff report the Western Common Advisory Committee moved that Halifax and West amend their terms and reference. It was later found that that motion was not in order for the committee. So Councillor Cuttle wonderfully took that to Halifax and West on our behalf and moved that, and it has gone to Regional Council. So it passed unanimously at Regional Council. And so now, this means that staff is going to look into it further. Our boards and committees, admin staff is going to reach out when we have, once we've touched base with all the parties that we need. And then we'll move forward with adding that seat.
Yes, Patty.
Find my mute button there. Thank you. So that's great. Yeah, there were no issues with that at all. Getting that seat added. I'm just wondering, Gareth or Liam, has any thought been given to the process of how that seat from the ROC will be selected, or is that up to them to determine how the person who fills that seat is selected, or what is the process from here in terms of filling that seat? Can we do it this year? Do we have to wait until committee selection again, or do you have any information on any of that?
Yeah, Chair, I can take that on. So, Councillor, I can take that on through the chair to you and the committee. This is going to go for a staff report. We're going to get that staff report back. The seat itself is going to be determined by the Resource Opportunities Center, as it's a member of their own that they are going to select. And once they have that individual, then I believe that they will be able to come right into this committee. I don't believe there is a need for them to wait until the next time that we are doing nominations from members of the public, because it's a seat that is theirs. This is a seat that will, from now until the committee or Halifax and West Community Council decide otherwise, this is an individual seat that will stay with the committee until the Western Common is finished, or if there is a need for an individual to be replaced, that will be done through the Resource Opportunities Center.
Okay, thank you.
So Liam, if I may, to follow up on Patty, and thank you, by the way, Patty, for running that up the line and getting that approved. Is it possible to get this staff report and this to PRCC so we could have a representative here for our August 25th meeting?
Chair, I can't give you an answer on that right now. I'll reach out to the staff who are kind of finishing up the report, and I can connect offline with committee members to provide an update from there.
Theoretically, though, it may be possible.
I unfortunately cannot. It is certainly possible. I just cannot speak to the speed with which staff write reports. They do an excellent job, but they're thorough, and so sometimes it can take a little bit longer than a month or so.
Yeah, well, we've got a rather long break this time, 4 months to the next meeting. So I was hoping that it might be possible. We'll see. Well, all we can do is move forward with that and look forward to it. So is there anything for us to do at this point? Do we have to move it? We don't have to move anything here. That's just a report. We'll
Chair,
come back.
to answer your question, no, there's no further action required by the committee.
Right, okay. So we have no added items, and on an optimistic note, on a sunny evening, I think maybe we can move forward if there's no other business.
I won't stop you from your stakes, but I do just want to say that that it's great. Like we are moving forward. We've made some decisions early on here, and we're moving forward with business, and I think it's great. So I thank all the committee members for being here on this sunny night, and I think it's great that we're all on board here.
Very good, and I look forward to meeting all of you one-on-one, flesh and blood, at some point in time without masks. Mind you, we're doing no masks now. But anyway, thank you very much, folks. And do I have anybody calling for the meeting to be adjourned?
There's one little thing I'd like to bring up, Mike.
Oh, please, yes.
We do have a long break coming up over the summer. But I think that gives us an opportunity to maybe actually, I don't know, get out in this area, maybe organize a couple of hikes. I mean, once this COVID thing is,
Yeah.
is that something folks would be up for, or?
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
How about you, Angela? Angela, I feel we need to get your voice on here in the Zoom for the record here.
Yeah, I'm all for any hike.
All right, you got your rubber boot.
There's a little bit of a canoe opportunity. I just remember the first time I went down here, actually I went down with Dusan and Peter Bigelow, and there's some pretty amazing country through here and I always say this, we do a lot of trout fishing and do a lot of bass fishing and do a lot of mountain biking, and we always get in areas and we're thinking, we're inside city limits. There's areas of this park that were, you're a kilometer away from a street with houses on it, but you would never know it. And I just think for some of the members that haven't been in some of these areas, I think it'd be worth, doing some day hikes and just some walk arounds, and Greenhead Trail and Gold Club Road is a neat little walk. And I don't know, we keep in touch and we can arrange some stuff.
Yeah, I think it'd be nice once everything's a little better. Maybe we'll let's look to touch base at the beginning of June and see how things are going. I live in White's Lake, which is downstream of much of the water that's in the Western Common area, and I'm happy to tell you that I caught 11-inch brook trout this morning off my wharf.
Excellent.
We're getting good water, fresh water coming from up that area. So,
Chair, if I can just jump in really quickly, I think now that our business has ended, I think we should call for a motion to adjourn the meeting, and then we can continue this conversation once we end the live stream there.
Okay.
Anyway, to all the people watching, hopefully we brought a few smiles to your faces, and we're moving forward. Hopefully a nice Western Common for everybody to enjoy in the future. So, anybody willing to end this fine meeting?
I will move a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
That's
Thank you, Darrell.
fantastic. Thank you so much.